All right, all right. It's right around that time again. Today is January 20th, 2022. This is episode 3 of the cast. Got a unique array of topics to talk about today. We're going to see if we can try to get to all those things as people start joining the show today and seeing what guests really want to take a part in these interesting topics. We have our crypto expert on today. That's great. I noticed Alex Benitez will give us his unique perspective today, probably on his battle with COVID. This should be pretty interesting, so we'll see how that goes. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Manny. Hey, guys.
Hey, shit sucks.
It sucks. Shut this down. All right. Well, good deal. So far, we got 3 on. So as more join, we will include them in the conversation. But I'd like to say thank you guys for being here today. It's always nice to have a trifecta going. And Brandon, I know we missed you the last couple of weeks, so welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Work, sometimes can't avoid it.
Unavoidable. And I know you're working with a lot of the East Asian time zones too, so you have definitely a different schedule than most people. So luckily, you're afforded the opportunity to be flexible in that way.
Yeah, right. There's positives to it for sure. So what's the update on your backyard? Is it almost done or any new progress or what's the deal there?
It's a great question. We are getting there. I've been promised that January 31st is going to be completed. That's 11 days
Ooh,
away, so
just in
it's
time for a certain big game.
exactly. That's the goal. Yeah, but
Cool.
you know what you kind of really want to kick the show off with today is dealing with taking a family vacation, dealing with COVID during this time. We've had this crazy uptick, and I was looking at the numbers just specifically in our area of Orange County. We're already double the amount of cases that we had from last winter, which I think is kind of, funny comparing, not funny, that's the wrong word, unique considering the vaccination rate in Orange County is so high, but cases are double than what they were last winter, so you can do it. Alex is here and he's battling with his this situation, and I just got back from a cabin trip that I was on over 4 days, and you throw a bunch of Mexicans in a cabin and it's like, it's worse than playing loteria. You're gambling with your life. So it was very, very interesting. And Alex, how have you been dealing with this? When did you test positive, and how have you been handling this short term time?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't even know if I'm positive or not. I'm still
Oh,
waiting for
okay.
results.
The tests are free.
Yeah. Well, so I took two of the rapid tests last week and negative. They were both negative. So, I mean, I was good to go. And then, so pretty much where I'm at right now at the household, like everyone got sick with COVID. And then I was taking care of them. And then, like 5 days later, dude, it just got me. And I'm not sure if it's COVID or if it's the flurona, fluvid, whatever it is. Like, I mean, all I know is that I got sick and it hit me hard. And I mean, I got the same COVID symptoms: the whole headaches, the
Mm.
the sore throat, the what do you call it, the coughing, all that stuff. And it really knocked me out, dude. Like my my bones were aching, and it's funny because I went snowboarding last week and I was perfect, and this week I was just like bedridden, dude. It just killed me big time. And but I'm still waiting for my COVID test to come in from Kaiser, and yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm positive or not.
But you're playing it smart. You're just assuming that you have the same symptoms as the other people in the home, and just kind of that's a better way to play it, right? I
Right.
kind of if you're playing it like, oh well, I'm just not gonna get tested and not gonna uh, see it through, then that's the wrong way to play it. So at least you're playing it smart. So
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, I think for me, it just didn't come in the best of timing because this was actually starting tomorrow. I start my academy for the Forest Service.
Oh, wow.
oh,
So this first week is all virtual, so it's good.
Oh,
But
okay.
on the 29th, I'm supposed to fly out to Florida.
you got
So
9 days. You got 9 days. I
yeah,
think you'll
so
be
I got
okay.
9 days to get better, but yeah, who knows what's gonna happen. So like I was telling the guy, I was like, hey dude, so like what happens if I show up and I'm positive for COVID? And he was just like, well, you got a hotel room, just book it for 2 more weeks. And then we'll just do a virtual from there. I'm like, so I'm gonna do a virtual in Florida when I can just fly home instead. So yeah.
Hopefully,
see what happens.
hopefully you should be good by then. Usually 2 weeks is the long-term period, and people sometimes get over it in a week. So, but we're glad you're doing
typically.
okay, man.
Oh yeah.
It hits everybody differently, and at least you're standing. Yeah, I mean, this trip I took, I was almost already under the assumption that I was gonna get this. There's 20 plus of us in this cabin, and we, did a little boarding, snow play. Um, it was just one of those things where it was a planned trip, and I gave people now. I was like, if you're not comfortable going, don't go. And we still had everybody wanting to do it, so people mitigated their own risk, and it was fine. But 4 days back, and I haven't felt anything, and I'll probably test just to be sure. But I mean, luckily, not feeling any effects, so we're doing
Was
okay.
it weird using protection for the first time in such a long time?
It was extremely weird you having to wrap it up. Yeah, but no, good. Well, Tim, welcome to the show. Something interesting that happened to me on the cabin was the first time I ever used an Oculus. I had never
Did you
dabbled
play the
into that for
golfing
real.
game, or which one did you play?
I played Vader Immortal.
Oh man.
So, well, I'll kind of allude to this.
It's got to be awesome, right? I haven't done it, but I've heard some.
It was incredible, but as I was telling people, oh, I'm gonna use this thing, and everybody's telling me, oh, you need to try out the porn. I'm like, I'm not gonna try out porn.
God, what are we, 20?
But
Tells you where my head's at. Like, I want to day trade with it on.
Exactly, right? Have it all around. You feel like you're on Wall Street. But no, it was pretty incredible. I will say it was very immersive. I felt like I was there. It was pretty incredible, and I can understand why this metaverse is getting a lot of play, because a lot of kids really want that full immersion experience, and I kind of get it. It was a little addicting, and I took it off, and I was like, oh, where am I? Like, I'm still in the cabin.
This place is boring.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of potential, also a lot of unique avenues that could take, considering that was the first thing I was told by 30 people. Oh, go check out the porn, go check out the lap dance app. Like, come on, guys. We're slightly better than that. Let me do that on my own time. But it was pretty good. But overall, family vacations during COVID, very interesting. So if you plan on doing something, just make sure everybody's understanding where, the dangers, and people have the heads up on what the situation is. But overall, it was safe and as best as it could be. A few broken bones from family members. Actually, 2 family members left with broken bones.
Wow, another one after, yeah.
So I had my 3-year-old cousin break his arm, and then I had our cousin Andrew, who's in his mid-20s. He got there with a broken bone. He didn't realize it in his ankle and a torn tendon, and he ended up, when we left the cabin, he ended up going to the VA on Tuesday, and the VA told him, like, you got a broken ankle and torn tendon. What are you doing? And he's been walking around on it and trying to board with it all weekend. So incredible. Have a good deal. But Tim, welcome. Actually, Tim was on last week, and we had actually a really, really fun playoff talk about, the NFL playoffs. Where
how'd your predictions go? Was it good?
We were 6-0, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, looking back, I watched back the show, and I was like, okay, we were 6-0 with me, you, and Rob. I was pretty happy. I was like, all right, we're like handicappers here.
That would have paid out 20-30 to 1 or whatever.
I think we were slightly off on the way we thought some of the games would go. Like the Patriots game wasn't close, obviously. No. Sorry, Brandon.
I can't. I don't care for the Patriots.
I thought you were a Patriots fan, no?
No, only when Brady was there and I was living there, and they've had enough. Yeah, they've had enough.
Yeah. They have. I agree. Yeah. So, but we picked the winners. So
we picked the winners. Yeah, and now that Bills game was really, really surprising. I mean, I was looking at their drive list. They went touchdown, 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 touchdown. They went 7 straight touchdowns on 7 straight drives. I was like, holy moly, that is.
Yeah, it's they came to play. I guess Jordan Poyer gave him a pretty good fire-up speech before the game that I guess, got leaked. I don't think he was too happy that people found out, because he was basically talking smack about the Patriots. So gave him some bulletin board material for next year. But
that's how you fire up a team, though.
Yeah, they just dominated him. That was crazy. But
I think they needed to exercise those demons in that way, just because they've been over the years thoroughly manhandled by the Patriot, Bill Belichick. It was just like finally, and hopefully this kind of levels the playing field a little bit. But Josh
That's why
Allen
we want him to run into Brady.
I mean, hopefully they don't have a letdown. Like, hopefully they keep it going this week, because it doesn't get any easier. They're going to play a real quarterback this week, so we'll see what happens. But
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So that Bills game was really really fun. Actually, that the first game on the Saturday, the Raiders Bengals game, that was a really exciting game. So we were watching it up there, and I was going back and forth, and I was really impressed with how the Raiders stuck around. And then I
yeah,
knew that Cincinnati was getting some home cooking, which is obvious, but the Raiders kind of kept their composure, which is not like them at all, and they really battled back there in the end. And you got Raiders fans now yelling to fire, Derek Carr or get rid of him, and it's like, come on, guys.
they've hung around all year. Like, I don't think they've really gotten. I think the Chiefs blew them out, but most games they were, I think, fairly competitive in. But that whole play with the whistle, like right when the guy caught the ball in the end zone, I don't understand the big deal. I know, like, what the rule is, but that whistle didn't affect the play. It was blown right when he caught the ball. It didn't change how the defender played it, but whatever.
Agreed. Yeah, it was not really a determining factor in the game, right? They were going to score regardless, so I don't know why people are making a big deal about it. Yeah, but Alex, how are you feeling after that Eagles performance?
Well, to be honest, not good at all. Well, I mean, expected. What can you expect going against them? And I mean, I just wasn't expecting it to be a blowout like that. That was just way too embarrassing. Just watching every single play. I think once Jalen Reagor dropped that freaking ball, that punt return, that was it. That's when I told my team, you know what? Fuck this. We're done. Out for the season. I'm not even going to care about it no more. We'll come back next year. But yeah.
You got to be done with Jalen Reagor at this point, right? Like,
dude, big time. Worst pickup ever. I don't know.
He was a first-round pick, right?
I would say definitely he's one of the biggest wide receiver busts. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wide receiver bust, all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, you could read all the fandom for like the Eagles comments. Like all the guys are saying, like, you know what, leave his ass in freaking Tampa Bay. Don't bring him back. Leave his ass in Florida. Tell him to kick rocks. But yeah,
it's kind of like the Nelson Aguilar effect, right? Like,
yeah.
Once they were done with them, they were done with them. Like, get out of town.
Yeah. We're Philly fans are pretty hardcore when it comes to that kind of shit. Like, I think they posted up, like, oh, thank the fans for a beautiful season. Everyone's like, fuck you guys suck.
So classy.
Classy.
So classy.
Yeah, classy as hell, dude.
They really need to draft a good receiver for once. I mean,
oh yeah, 100%.
Who's the last good wide receiver they drafted? Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson,
maybe.
That's what I could think of.
I know.
God,
I'm still not sold on Jalen Hurts. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's great out of the pocket and he can move his legs, but I just don't feel he's accurate enough yet. Maybe he can have that Josh Allen type progression. And remember, because Josh Allen in that first year, he was an awful thrower, but he made a lot of plays with his legs. If Jalen Hurts can develop to something like even remotely similar to that, he'll be okay. But right now, I don't have the confidence in him for him to be like that dude to take you down on a 2-minute drive and win you a game. I just don't see it yet.
Oh yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that accuracy yet, and then also like the whole, looking out to what's open too. Like reading the plays, I guess you can say. I mean, how many times did he throw straight to the safeties, like just chilling there, just waiting for him to throw, and boom, intercepted. It's like, come on, dude. Like, they were reading you like a fucking Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah, he waited too long sometimes to make the throw, like when he should have thrown it quicker and it would have been a completion. But there are some drops too. Like, he made some good throws that just hit guys on the hands and were drops. So it's he definitely needs some work, but they need some receivers for him too. I mean, and they also need to target. Devontae Smith's got promise, but they didn't even target him until like halfway through the third quarter or something. It was like, there's no way he's not getting open versus that the Tampa Bay Bucks don't have very good corners right now. Like, I don't even know who was playing for them, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that should have been something that was exploited, but Eagles are done. We expected that. The game that was the really game that you and I both, Tim, believe that would have been the lower seed upset was the Niners Cowboys game, and we called that exactly how it was going to be, which I was pretty happy about. I mean, it was
They almost blew it.
They almost blew it. I mean, but yeah, I think Mike McCarthy. A lot of people are blasting him for that third down play. I don't think that was that bad of a play call. You knew that they were going to cover the sidelines, so run it up there. That whole last play, the way the referee bumped into him, I didn't like them moving the ball.
Just too, yeah, it's too risky. Yeah, like you just there's no guarantee you're going to have enough time left when in that situation. But I just blame him for like normally I don't like all the flags that were in the game, but you don't get that many penalties. Like all the replays, I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's a penalty. So they're just an undisciplined team, and
Yeah, in that first quarter, would they have 3 encroachment penalties, 3, and neutral zone infractions? It's like, come on, guys, like,
yeah,
you're just giving the offense, you're giving an offense that can run down your throats more yards. What are you doing here?
Yeah, just complete amateur stuff is. But
see, what I think the narrative that's not being talked about enough in that game is that Dak Prescott was terrible in the first half, terrible, and he's not getting any blame at all. I don't understand it. I'm like, he was god awful in the first half. What is going on here? Like, that is you paid him like a franchise quarterback, but he did not play like that.
Yeah. Well, he got out coached. I mean, he wasn't. The whole team wasn't prepared.
No.
So it's. Yeah, they're more talented, you could argue, but they got dominated for most of the game, so got lucky to get in it. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, play this weekend, because that was a big difference too. When Dallas started moving the ball, both those guys were out of the game. I was like, okay,
right.
That makes a huge difference here, right? I mean, 2 of the best defensive players in the league were sitting on the sideline, and it was like, okay, now Dak's moving the ball, but yeah, I
think Warner's good, but Bosa's still iffy, so I'm sure you hope he's not in.
I hope for his health and for his safety that he rests this game and he doesn't do don't push it, Nick, just stay home. You got a family to worry about. Don't push it, man. Like, protect
good
yourself.
Advice. You got to worry about your future brain function. So
exactly. Steelers Chiefs, we all knew how that was going to go. We were anticipating blowout. Big Ben wasn't going to show. No big deal. Rams Cardinals too. We kind of expected Rams to do business at home, and Kyler, just like Dak, just terrible game. I don't understand what he was doing. So many bad decisions, and it's very vastly different when DeAndre Hopkins is on the field as opposed to when he's not on the field. It's night and day with that offense.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, you don't expect that from the elite quarterbacks. Like Tom Brady has always won, no matter who his receivers are. He's had some that have stuck around. Like, he's always had like one guy kind of that he's familiar with, but then a bunch of other
Gronk,
no names for the most part, except for a few years. But yeah, like Gronk and Wes Welker and Edelman. But like Aaron Rodgers, if there's no Devontae Adams, that you don't expect him to completely fall apart and be a different quarterback, really. Might be a little drop off, but he's still going to perform. But Kyler, I think he's young, but I think he's overrated. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you look at Deshaun Watson, right? So when Deshaun Watson lost DeAndre Hopkins, you didn't see him drop off there, right? He still produced, and he still was doing well with losing such an elite receiver. So yeah, I mean, a quarterback has to just adapt to the situation, and he doesn't do a good job of that. That was definitely he's got to find a way to get over that adversity. But their offensive line is terrible. We all know that. And I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury either. I mean, I love their style of a high potent offense, but you got to be able to run the ball late in the year. I mean, we all know this. Like this time of year, if you can't run the ball effectively, you're not going to win. You look at all the teams that advance, they run the ball very well.
Apparently it was the same way in college. Like his teams would start out hot like the Cardinals did this year, and then they would be terrible like the second half of the season. Like start out, undefeated 6-7-0, and then lose, the last 5 or stuff like that. So
Well,
I don't
in
know
college,
what that is, but
in college they only play one round against each other. I mean, NFL, if you get 2 chances right against your division rivals, that second time around they know what's coming. Like, okay, we got video on you. You worked us in that first game. We're gonna take it to you in the second game. They, these coaches are really good at adaptation and putting together game
the Rams
plans.
have the better coach, and then Cam Akers too. I know we talked about him a little bit, and he looked like he was never even out. Like I couldn't believe how much he played and how good he looked. So
yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a big boost for the Rams to have that in the backfield now. It's like perfect timing.
I know.
So looking ahead to this week, we got 4 games, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. Bengals Titans. I mean, I think the Titans are going to actually win that game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I really, really do. Bengals look sharp. They can run the ball, obviously, with Joe Mixon. Is Derrick Henry back this game? Did they officially rule him back for this game yet?
I think still up in the air. So nothing definitive. I think they're going to wait till the last minute. I think they already know, but they're probably trying not to let the Bengals know, so it's a surprise to them.
Reel them in, right? Yeah.
I mean, they got with him, they've got 2-3 good running backs anyway. So even if they don't have them, they still have good backups, as we know. People are counting them out a lot, but I mean they're like the 49ers. They're just ball control and good defensive line. So
that's exactly how I see them in the AFC. They run the ball 40 times a game and have Tannehill run 10 play action passes. You're probably going to be successful. You don't need to have your quarterback win the game for you.
And AJ Brown's healthy, so they're a totally different team with him in there. So
and Julio's healthy,
I think so, at least for now, until he gets hurt in the middle of the game.
Yep. And then you got the Saturday night cap, Niners, Packers. Woo. This is the game that I've not been looking forward to. I admitted that last week. I did not want to see the Niners advance because of that matchup. I had people all week asking me, "Oh, the Packers going to go? Packers going to get it done?" And I'm like, I do hope and believe that, but I'm just, Niners do exactly what you need to do at this time of year. And the snow, they're expecting snow Saturday morning. That's not going to slow them down. They have the perfect game plan already built in place for that type of weather. So what I think it's going to affect them more is if the Packers can somehow slow down that run, which would be the best situation to have Jimmy G try to beat them in the air, then we're talking here. But that's easier said than done for the Packers.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a better game than Dak, I'm sure. So that like the 49ers don't have a great secondary. I'm sure he can take advantage of it, but if he's not on the field much, I don't know how much that's going to help. But if they can jump out to an early lead, like get up 14-0 or something like that, then could change it. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. But I like the Packers' chances, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Now, Brandon and I have a vested interest in what happens in this actually Rams Buccaneers game. Brandon and I are both season ticket holders for the Rams. So it's kind of a weird situation for us where the Rams win, they beat the Bucs, and the Niners win. Because of this new reseeding, I had to kind of tell him how they changed that whole rule this year with the reseeding. The Rams will actually host the NFC Championship game again, just because they're the higher seed above the Niners. So it would be a very interesting scenario where that would happen. And so we're kind of looking at that pretty closely here. Brandon, what did you take on that? You think the Rams make it to that NFC Championship game? Would it be able to boost that fan base and get them excited to want to host that game?
This is not financial advice, but if the Rams get another home game, buy as many extra tickets as you can as an owner, because yes, those will boost. And as you know, I'm also a Niners owner too. And what was screwing me is a few weeks back, I get this email, same as every league, saying in the event that the Niners can host a home game, we're pre-charging your credit card now. And I'm like, what? In what scenario are the Niners going to be able to host a game? And so, but so clearly, I've kind of got learned a little bit on that. But no, yeah, they obviously division. You want that, but I don't want it because I know it's taken down probably a nationwide fan favorite. I mean, maybe, unless people still think the Niners are that way, but I don't really care about up north so much to say as my wallet is impacted. But yeah, that would be a kind of an incredible matchup, is to let them play for like the third time, this year, to your point earlier. So, they should know each other very well by then.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be one of the highest grossing games of the season. I mean, that's a division rivalry game with potentially a division rivalry game with a lot on the. I mean, a Super Bowl appearance on the line. That would be. Oh man.
And I think
That's
as
like-
Last
Rams,
game-
we get to buy 4 more. Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, that's all right. I was just say the last game was like all 49ers fans pretty much, wasn't it? It was like a Chargers home game where it's the opposing fans in the stands. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I was really shocked at that. I thought the Rams faithful would show out more, but it was more of a 60-40 split, red to blue. That's what I saw, and I was
Oh, wow, really? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, even listening to it on TV, you could, when the Niners had the ball, it was really loud. I'm like, what is going on here? It was pretty wild stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, so while I don't wish for that, if it happens, at least I'll be compensated, hopefully financially.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think
Oh,
tomorrow is
yeah.
where you get to buy those additional 4. So make sure you do that, because you make your own decision. But those will go gangbusters. No problem.
Oh yeah.
You just get a
Yeah.
refund if it doesn't happen, right? I mean, so
Yeah,
nothing to lose if there's
No.
no fees or anything.
No, I mean that could be $1,000, working for 1 hour. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's nice. Yeah. Brandon and I also entered in. We got our emails from SoFi this week.
Bitcoin
and-
just took a huge leg down. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, we're
Yeah,
gonna
it did.
discuss that right now in 2 minutes here. But
It's like
yeah,
a
Brandon-
huge wick down. I mean, there's a whole bunch of limit orders that are getting activated right now. Like, oh, it just bounced back to 39. But yeah, anyways, go ahead. Sorry, it's so exciting right now. Everything's moving.
Oh, I know. We've been watching it all day. But yeah, Brandon and I got our emails from the Rams saying to get your Super Bowl potential sweepstakes. So we'll be entered in a raffle to potentially get Super Bowl tickets. Still on the fence if I'm gonna buy them if I win that raffle, but that's something we'll be discussing later, and probably how to position yourself for that. But that's kind of exciting, having a potential to buy some Super Bowl tickets. I never thought that I'd be in a position like that, so it's kind of interesting. Brandon's been in the game a lot longer than I have, with having Baltimore Ravens tickets and Niners tickets.
Atlanta went to the Super Bowl, one of my teams. That was fun, but I didn't get chosen in that lottery. I would have liked to, just to see what the process looks like. But yeah, I know it's like, but when you look in the math, I think it's 8% or something is your chances that you get in there. So, temper and it's not like you get one roll of the dice every ticket you own. It just puts your name as an owner into the pool. I think they give they publish this, but it's like 40% goes to each team, and then like some large 15% goes to ESPN or something like this, or the national broadcasters, and then the owners are left with 5% roll. So something small like that. So keep your expectations very low for those chances.
It's good to know. Good to know. Yeah, but so Rams Bucks. I think the Rams have definitely a good chance to win that game, especially with the Rams. The wide receivers playing much better now. Odell Beckham looking great. I think they can carve up that defense, as long as Stafford can, sling that ball around.
You never know what you're going to get with him. He could have a meltdown game like he did against the Vikings, who he should have absolutely lit up, whatever week that was. But the Bucks are definitely banged up. I mean, I think their right tackle's out for this game, or he got hurt in the last game, I know. So that could be, if they're down offensive linemen against Aaron Donald and Von Miller, that could be trouble.
Oh yeah, that could spell disaster quickly for Brady, right? That would be what happened to Brady against the Saints, right? They just kind of dominated that defensive line, dominated that Bucks offensive line, and the Saints just basically shut him down completely. So that's what we can see. And the game of the weekend is going to be this Bills Chiefs game. I mean, I think it's going to be super exciting. I think a lot of the country's probably rooting for the Bills to get through just because they kind of want to see that fan base march on and see what happens. But I really believe like this will be a matchup we see consistently over the next 6-7 years with Mahomes versus uh, Josh Allen, and it's going to be very interesting to
Probably.
see how Josh Allen responds in on a road game right after that huge offensive output. Right? Is he going to still be level-headed and be able to produce that, like you said, Tim, or is he going to be have a little bit of drop off? I mean, even if he has a little bit of drop off, the way they produced offensively was excellent.
Yeah, that should be a good game. I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's like no disrespect to the Bengals or Titans, but it's kind of a shame that they're playing in the divisional round instead of the conference championship. But it's the way it goes. So
That's the way it goes. Yeah. So we'll temper that, but for me, I got Titans, Packers, Rams, Bills. That's what I'm going with this week, and we'll see how that pans out. What about you, Tim?
I would lean Chiefs. That's the only. But I mean, they played earlier this year. I think the Bills won by a field goal, if I remember right. I know they played each other this year.
Yeah.
It was a high scoring game, but
Yep.
I think that was kind of when the Chiefs were slumping. And they've rounded into form. So yeah, I mean last week they got to play a rookie QB who he was good enough, but he's a game manager, and like he's not going to be the type that can bring his team back like the Chiefs. Mahomes will always keep them in the game pretty much. So should be interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon? You want to throw some picks out there, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Oh,
Bengals, Packs, the Rams, and the Bills. Bills Mafia, baby.
all right. The Bills Mafia. That's right.
Oh yeah.
Actually, clarify. I want the Chiefs to lose, but anyway,
Okay.
Because
I hate them.
I gotta jam out. I gotta take care of something real quick.
All right, Alex. Take care of yourself, man.
All right,
Appreciate
sure.
you jumping on.
Yeah, feel better,
Yeah.
Alex.
Thank you guys.
See ya.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. So, next, we got plenty of time here, and I know Brandon just alluded to it a few minutes ago. We've seen such a crazy week with crypto and what's going on. So I'm glad Brandon's here to kind of temper our expectations on what to expect and to kind of give us some, little insight on why we're seeing such pretty wild volatility in these last couple of days here. And, I've even swooped up on a little bit more, and it's kind of been interesting to jump on this. And yeah, we're taking a little dips right now, but I think
That's a lot of red.
Yeah, there was some pretty cool wicks down earlier. If I try to paint some of this marker here was when Rob earlier said his limit order got hit. That was at like 6 o'clock this evening. And then we got online, right around where's the time, but it's just been dropping, and these wicks are going lower and lower and lower. But what's right now, tomorrow is a lot of options expire in the market, so you always see a ton of volatility around there. But long term, I think there's a huge opportunity, but it kind of depends on what your stomach is. This blue line that I drew, this 39.6, is if I zoom out, this is my like long term support line. It doesn't stay below there for long. So you can kind of see, did it back in September of last year, and it kind of fought over it, back in August or whatever. And we wicked down pretty strongly a few times recently, but it always kind of holds right around here. And then just tonight, you can kind of see it when I move the cursor there, the wick is right down below that mark. But last time we talked, I talked about long-term, resistance or short-term resistance, going back to, 3 or 4 months. And then you have like this divergence, this green going up, the support, long-term support. So if I go back like a year, I can go back a little bit further, but past a year, it's probably not going to show too much. Let me put it on the weekly, and you can kind of see it a little bit better. So you can kind of see how I drew these things. When these two, resistance and support lines start to diverge, you usually see fireworks. So a few weeks back, I kind of drew this white line, and I always keep it to where I, started until it's really wrong and I delete it. But it's kind of following that, and when it gets pinched in this range, especially at options expiry, you kind of see like this bullish divergence usually popping out of it, or it creates like a new resistance level, and then they start fighting for lower. But these two blue lines, it's Bitcoin's been fighting over for a long time, and the market itself is still at like 2.1 trillion, so it's still in a healthy long-term bull market. But we are seeing a lot of fun volatility right now, and I'm super thrilled about it because I rolled over a small 401k that I had back in 2006, 7, and 8 that I never rolled over into my current job. And I opened an account with iTrust Capital. I'm not recommending them for anybody, but they allow you to buy crypto in your 401k, which is a tax advantage account. So it funds tomorrow. It's literally taken me 3 weeks to close my account with a certain bank, get them to send me the check, me send the check to Long Beach at iTrust, and then them cash the check. And it's like, double checking things. And I got an email on Monday as I'm watching this market for like the last 5 days, just kind of going down. And I'm like, this is the 5-day, range. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, just cash anytime. I'm just going to put the whole thing into it. It's like 65K. And so tomorrow, if this holds, I'll go back to the day here and I'll move it to the minute wick. If this holds, I'm pretty excited. So I'm just like, even my fingers crossed, like just get in here because, my simple thought is long term, this thing could like spike back up to, 50, 60 within a couple months for sure.
Oh yeah. So those, we might have people who don't understand some of the terminology, Brian. Can you kind of allude to what a limit option or a limit order? Yeah, because I know Rob and I learned it this year when I started doing pretty more aggressive investing. When I've kind of been able to toy with it and do better, but you can probably explain it better than I can. So.
Yeah, limit orders definitely a smart way to play it, because when you put market orders in, you can often get front run, or you basically get a trade that whatever exchange or brokerage you use just kind of can fill it. I don't want to say willy nilly, but you're often not getting the exact price of where you think the market's at right now. There's kind of a trend. And when you look at these candles, basically these candles will say, if I'm on the daily, I can move it to a 4-hour to make it a little bit simpler, but these candles basically say if it was red, it ended lower than where it started. And then the wicks on the end of them, you can kind of see like this is a spinning top, and these are some hammers kind of down. But it basically says it started here, the price dropped all the way down to here in this mid-market range of this 4-hour period, and then ended back here. And so that's kind of how you look at these candles. So for example, the market on this candle right here, if you could see my screen, started here. It looks like it might have gone down this wick all the way up this wick and then ended right there. So you kind of get a sense of the range that is occurring every 4 hours, right? And so what's kind of incredible is when you drill into some of these, and then I got volume at the bottom. You see that it started here, went all the way down here, and then ended here in this 4-hour period. I think this one's still open. It closes another hour or whatever, but so I look at that. So a limit order is essentially you kind of find, what the daily range is, this orange line or the average. And a lot of people will place their trades, right where the market's at. But, Rob, a few days ago, he basically said, he's looking at the market around 41,000, and he set like a 39,600 limit order where it just goes off as soon as it hits that price, and you're guaranteed that price. Otherwise it's not filled. And I told him, I go, it'll definitely hit, because, every X number of, hours, there's always a wild wick, these really down long wicks these are huge positions coming in. Bitcoin could be really disrupted by like 6,000 coins. Somebody with 6,000 coins can really just ruin the market for the day. It just doesn't really have that kind of liquidity to support that. So one whale can come in and do this kind of activity, and then it takes a few minutes or a few hours to kind of wick back up and close. And then what I look at, just to kind of summarize, I have the Bollinger Bands on here, or the Bs. Kind of tells you when they're overbought or oversold. So anytime they go kind of below these Bollinger Bands, tend to be supportive. You can kind of see where they wick down, they jump right back up whenever they kind of touch the edges of these. So if you're diligent and you set your own strategies throughout the course of your buying activity, limit orders are always a good place to start, and set those limits right around the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Those are always kind of unique smart little ways to kind of set set an exercise for yourself to not buy something until it hits that amount. And then on the opposite side, I don't do this, but if if it ever goes above the Bollinger Band, it's probably a good opportunity to sell if you're into trading. I don't really trade. I'm kind of a long-term investor. So as I inch into things, I kind of just try to always buy at the bottom of those Bollinger Bands. And I use a lot of other indicators as well, just to confirm and help, build a census around, what I'm going to be doing on certain positions. So hopefully that kind of helped you. But yeah, limit orders smart, super smart way to kind of be meticulous and not try to guess at how much you're going to buy at that exact moment. Like think of it in advance, look at the long-term range, set your limits, and then just let them hit on their own, or tweak them as they go week to week. If the price is moving away from your limit, maybe raise your limit up a little bit more, kind of look at where the wicks are landing. And it's a good way to get a good discount on the stocks.
Yeah, good call there on giving Rob the heads up that letting him know that it'll drop. I know he was banking on it to drop to a certain price, and I'm glad he hit that today. It's pretty awesome. Good for him. So.
Oh, yeah, looks like
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping it sits at this I mean, if this support level is true, then this is the new kind of bottom line for Bitcoin. I mean, obviously take it with a grain of salt. The charts are always wrong, but you kind of use them to help your position. And it not only is it below Bollinger, but it's at my long-term support. And I also know that there's bullish divergence. There's literally a bull flag coming in. So not financial advice at all, but if you are a long-term, if your timelines are 2 or 3 or 10 years away, I think 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 or 5, 6, 7% of your net worth in this thing is, there's probably a decent opportunity for some upside returns. And then there's a ton of little news in the market, like Walmart just came into this space. Google, Facebook would not sell ads for crypto, as of just recently, of 2 years ago, last year. They've reversed that. They're now selling ads for crypto. So they're moving in the space. JP Morgan just came out with a deal. They're always wrong. Jamie Dimon basically said, if I remember right, like not even like a year or two ago, if any employee buys Bitcoin, you're fired, something along those crazy lines. And now now they're coming out and presenting all this research, which is just not even close to being, they're looking at this like financials, which is fine, but it's technology. You got to look at adoption and, more than just that. But, so anyway, so now they're kind of coming in and there's articles using, financial ratios to support, having a little Bitcoin in your portfolio to protect against inflation. And even maybe the Sharpe ratio goes up, meaning you're more efficient as an allocator of capital across the risk spectrum. So, it's just becoming more and more widely adopted, despite the fact that it is still very volatile, so, you kind of got to, not look at it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad, the money I put into it so far, even with the amount of volatility I've seen, I'm very happy with my investment so far. It's done well, and I can't really complain. And I'm just gonna ride this wave, and I think it's smart, like you said, play it in the long-term effect rather than look at it in the short term. And even right now with I have a much bigger stake in ETH and other things in ADA too. So I'm hoping those continue kind of along the same trend. But I know Bitcoin has so much popularity and backing to it. It's I know you preached a couple weeks ago, stick to the major 4, major 5, and you should be okay as long as you're not trying to beat the market on a per hourly basis or daily basis. You'll be all right.
I love Ethereum under 3,000. I mean, it just hit 28. It's at the edge of its Bollinger. I mean, we're going to see, Ethereum has got such a long runway. I mean, there's a lot of companies, even JP Morgan was poo-pooing it. But they've got, like, if I remember right, like 4,000 applications and companies that are partnered or already layered on top of their blockchain. So they're not going away. They're a little slow and they're a little expensive. And that's why Solana came out and is empowered there. But the trilemma with crypto is you're always going to sacrifice security for speed or speed for quality, and kind of vice versa. And people can loosely define it otherwise. That's fine. And so when they say that, oh, Solana is so much faster, it's going to kill Ethereum. It's like, no, Ethereum also has tighter security. It has far more adoption. There's 4,000 dependent companies now layered on it. It's not going away. And now they just went deflationary for the first time. So they were kind of an unlimited token. So the tokenomics for Ethereum, for me, was a little suspicious. But not only is adoption just everywhere, but they're deflationary. So now they're starting to burn more, or they're getting closer to burning more than they're creating. So, they'll start acting like a store of value as well as a utility, as well as the layer 1. So ETH is good at 3. Right now, if I wasn't on with you guys, I'd probably be setting some limits for ETH. Cardano finally came out with something. Did you say ADA?
Yeah.
Yeah, they finally just came out with a DEX just today. They announced, or yesterday or something. So they've got something like NFTs are being supported on the network. So it's like they finally have like an actual use case. Everybody's been like dying for them to come out with something. So yeah, I'm thrilled. But up until now, they just need to like prove something. Get adoption on there. That's like the only thing.
Right. Proof of concept, right? You got to prove that your stuff supports something that's tangible.
Yeah, and to your point is I'm sharing with my friends and family, stick to those top 3, 4, or 5, Luna, Matic, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, in that reverse order, because we know on the S curve of adoption of global technologies, there's this shakeout period in the middle of it on the way up, right? I think I talked about this last time, 10%, whatever amount of time to 10%, take that same amount of time, and that's the time it goes from 10% to 90% adoption for these global technologies. And we're just starting to make uptrend on that. And what'll happen in the middle of the uptrend, there'll be way too much liquidity that will wash in, and all these companies will go bankrupt, and there'll be a shakeout period. And then, the 5 winners will emerge, right? So kind of keep your tap dancing shoes on, as a lot of people that I follow kind of say, because it is moving around, right? Even crypto.com got hacked. You guys may have seen that. Well done, Matt Damon. Good choice for an advertisement. I feel like he needs to be paying those $5 million or whatever. Excuse my language, almost. But that's why security is key. Don't test these new exchanges. Start out with the established ones that know what they're doing. And actually, crypto, to their point, they actually funded all the customers. Nobody lost $1. So
that's good.
So there's good things happening. And then, Turkey just met with El Salvador, because Turkey inflation is going crazy. So anybody that doesn't follow the money supply, they have no idea that freight train that's about to hit them. But Turkey now is kind of toying around with it. So as long as Putin doesn't invade Ukraine, and we can just like not raise interest rates too much, the Fed, quite frankly, is kind of stuck printing money. That's my general opinion with monetary stuff. They've inflated so much that they just can't. They're not going to be able to unwind it. Otherwise, they're going to go see a three-decade flattening like Japan went through. So they're just going to have to keep pumping in order to fund the growth. And if they do that, then more and more companies and countries will start toppling and starting to allocate a little bit of their treasury to Bitcoin or digital assets. It's almost like, I hate to say a surety. I've never been this excited in my entire life for an asymmetric trade. I would never have anybody go all in on it, but this is kind of the most interesting time, because a lot of people feel like we lost, we're late in the game, but we're really in like the second inning or maybe the third inning of this whole story, very, very early, and more and more smart people, billionaires are allocating more of their reserves to this space. So when you kind of see like the Horowitz funds, the A16Z, the venture people moving in this year, it's real now. So I'd encourage everybody to take a look at it, because this is our lifetime. This is the .com that we were just like 18 when all that was happening, and we didn't really have a chance to participate. This is the one that we're going to be able to participate. That's going to drive, the technology base, the metaverse, the Web3, the Internet of Things, machine learning, AI. All of it's going to be built on some sort of protocol layer that is going to be supported by digital asset space. So I'm just like thrilled to be watching it at the first time in my life where I have a little skin in the game, kind of, learn a little bit about it, talk a little bit about it, and then kind of enjoy the benefits over the next, 6, 7, 8 years before it just like gets so like so ingrained in everything that we do that people are just going to look back and, be upset that they're just hoping that the next thing comes along now, and they kind of miss like that 90% curve.
I think we have another attendee trying to join here. It said
Perfect.
Jana Benavides, but I don't know what happened. Oh yeah, there. Hello, Jana Benavides.
Oh, what? That's ridiculous.
Welcome to the show, Danny. This is actually Daniel Benavides, the husband. He logged into his wife's account.
No, this is weak. This is on my laptop, on my Mac. This is weak.
Oh, your wife hacked you then.
Apparently so.
I'm not leaving because Danny just joined, but hey, good evening, guys. I got to put the kids down today. Tonight's my night, so have a good night, and good talking to y'all. See you next week.
Yeah, thanks for the great rundown, Danny. That was a great breakdown of that, so we appreciate that.
Everything he said was a lie.
It could be misinterpreted depending on time. Take care, guys. Bye.
All right, have a
see
good
ya.
one. All right. Yeah, Danny. Brandon gave us a 20-minute breakdown of things going on today. Rob was buying thousands of dollars worth of crypto because of what happened today. So, like, oh boy, here we go. Yeah.
You guys are
Again,
ridiculous.
I know it's very interesting.
Invest in baseball bats.
So, Danny is such a great dad. He's got his kid out there. That's Danny's meal ticket, right? He's not banking on any of the crypto or anything. He's like, my son's making major leagues. He's gonna be the next. He's gonna be the next Pudge Rodriguez, and we're all good.
I just want him to play in college. That's it.
Yeah, no, he's looking great though. You sent us those videos, and he looks awesome. I'm very impressed with what I see. It's cool.
I like that you're impressed. I just see the flaws.
No, I mean catcher is like one of the hardest positions to play in Little League. I mean, it's just terrible because pitchers are terrible, and being able to throw a dude out at second, it's nearly impossible, right? I mean, not a lot of kids can do it.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. So I enjoy when you share that stuff with us because it's neat to see that, and it'd be cool to go back and maybe 10 years from now when he is playing in like a college or something like, oh man, we saw him as a little kid. Just
Say, look how terrible you were. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but so we'll kind of end out the show here. With our few minutes left, we can talk
I know
about.
this is the perfect timing for me.
Oh, I know. You got to put the kids down. By the way, how are your children doing, Danny? I know we had a.
Oh, they're both fine.
Yeah.
Aaliyah's on the downward trend of the Rona, and Carter's never had symptoms, so he's good.
Great, that's great to hear. Yeah, Alex was on earlier, and he kind of gave us his breakdown of what happened. So yeah, I know your daughter ended up contracting it, which like most children right now are dealing with that. So glad to hear that she's doing well and she's on the upswing. So it's good.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I gotta go.
Oh, already that quick?
Yep, I gotta go. Bye.
Uh-oh. All right. Wow, that was quick. Okay, but
All right.
yeah. So with our few minutes here, Tim, did you see the Moon Knight trailer that dropped on Monday Night Football?
I did, and I had never heard of the Moon Knight. I mean that trailer was wild. Looks interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna be checking that out for sure.
Yeah, Moon Knight is. I mean, I've been a big Marvel fan since I was young, and my I've always played the video games and read a lot of comics. And Moon Knight's actually a really, really cool character. He's kind of like Marvel's version of Batman. He's a night vigilante, but he's imbued more. Instead of like having all the gadgets and stuff like Batman has, he's imbued with powers from an Egyptian god. So think of Batman, but with schizophrenia. So he basically has three personalities living in him, and one of them is an Egyptian god, and the other one is a military mercenary. So he is battling like these inner, people inside his brain, and the Egyptian god takes him over. That's when the powers come out because he was. The way the comic is he saved an archaeologist, and the archaeologist gave him a totem, and the totem of Kushnu is like the Egyptian god of, I forget, moon or war or something, and basically he's like a protector. So he is imbued now with those powers, but only when his mind is completely fractured, and then he can become that guy to like instill justice. So it's kind of cool. I love the character. I think he's interesting, just because he there's a lot of depth to him. So it'll be very cool to see where Marvel takes this. I really like the trailer because it looked darker than most things I've seen. Most of them have been kind of light, like Hawkeye was lighthearted. Even Falcon Winter Soldier got dark at times, but not too extreme. This one definitely seemed more on the darker side that Disney's trying to reach to.
Yeah, I mean the trailer was like schizophrenic. It was. You could tell like he didn't know what was going on. Like, well, he comes to his senses like, well, he's driving a truck and he's got a gun in his hand or something, and he's like surprised. So you could tell he's gonna be a crazy character. So yeah, that looks cool though. I didn't really see when it comes out though. I mean, I imagine it's pretty soon.
March 30th is the first episode release date. Yeah, so end of March.
Yeah.
Actually, my birthday is April 4th, so I'm kind of like, oh, it's like an early birthday present for me, just because I've always been fascinated with the character. I think he's cool. He's not your typical vigilante, but it'd be interesting to see like if they actually bring him into the fold into the Avengers or not, or they're gonna have like a little subset team because he's not like a superhero per se. He's he's in that middle. He's not a villain though either. So it's just like kind of his own level of vigilante. So how
Yeah.
are they gonna bring him into the bigger MCU fold? Who knows? So, but yeah, look, I was very impressed with the trailer. Sometimes trailers are just kind of like, what did I see? But this one had a lot of like going on. I was like, oh, and Ethan Hawke, I always loved him as an actor. I think he's great, and he's gonna be the villain for this show. I'm like, okay, so at least they have a great cast of lineup.
Yeah, I like Ethan Hawke too, and I can't think of the guy's name, but whoever plays the Moon Knight, I should know it, but I'm just drawing a blank. But I like him too, so
Oh
should be
yeah, oh
good.
yeah. No, he was awesome. He played Poe Dameron in Star Wars. So
Yeah,
yeah. Oscar Isaac. He's gonna
right.
be
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff lately. So he's kind of
Oh
blowing
yeah.
up a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think in the last 5 years, I think he even won an Oscar, right? Like for some movie that he did like a couple years ago. He probably won like supporting actor or something. So he's been they got a really good person for this, because the character too is of like Israeli descent. So I mean, it's a perfect fit, right? It really fits into the mold. I think the only part that people have with the trailer was the English accent, but who cares? I think it'll be fine once the show starts. Just people are not used to seeing him have an English accent.
Yeah, I'll get used to
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, yeah. But Boba Fett. I mean, are you caught up now? We just had episode 4 air last night. How are you? Did you were able to catch that?
Yeah, we watched it, and I mean, much better than episode 3. I don't know about you, but I thought episode 3 was just kind of a filler. Like that, spoiler alert, that whole chase scene was kind of cheesy, and but this last night's episode kind of now you kind of know where it's going, like what's happening, and caught up with the flashbacks. Now he figured out how he got to where he is now, and so yeah, I thought last night was definitely good.
Yeah. So yeah. Big spoiler alert with episode 4. I mean, 3. It's already been 2 weeks. I think people have watched, if not by now. But episode 4, if you want to turn it off before I speak about it, here's your chance. Yeah. What was interesting to me was episodes 2 and 4 have been the most pivotal, right? 1 and 3 were just really soft, but 2 and 4 were so pivotal because they really set up his where he here to now, like you said, Tim. It's right, like this is how he got here. This is how he got here, and it really this last episode was so cool because Fennec Shan was always a interesting situation at the end of the Mandalorian. If you hadn't seen that, where at the end of the episode where they go to hunt her down, and then the other bounty hunter kills her, shoots her in the stomach. You see this figure at the end, and you realize at the end of the Mandalorian that Mando saved her, but Boba Fett saved her, but they never really discussed why, or how he did it. How did he save her life? So it's cool to see that whole, basically picking her up and taking her to this workshop where guy basically mods people with a bunch of droid parts, which is so cool. And then, and he didn't just wake her up like there. He took her back to the spot where she was shot. I thought that was so neat. I was like, oh, that's really cool, because like not to freak her out too much. Like,
Yeah.
like I was like, oh man, like that was pretty interesting. Like, I was smart on him to kind of get her not to freak out, when he didn't get her earn her trust a little bit. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I'm really excited because I know what people saw and what I saw at the end of the trailer and the music. Did you notice the music at the end of the episode?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I knew it was different. At first, I didn't really catch it, but then after a few seconds, I realized what it was. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So again, spoiler alert: Mando's coming back. He's coming back, baby. Din Djarin is coming back.
Just Mando, or you think like all the Mandalorians?
That's a great question. So I had this conversation on a chat app blog I have, and I was looking at the situation because at the end of Mandalorian, Din Djarin is now the leader of the Mandalorians, right? Bo-Katan is basically do the rules per the Darksaber say he's the ruler, and they got to follow his lead. So if that's the case, and he hires Mando, I think they're all coming. So I think Bo-Katan's coming with him, and I think all the owls are also coming with her because they report to her. So you could see 4 or 5 of them all, working together to help Boba Fett, which would be pretty dang cool.
Yeah. Well, seems like it's probably going to need it, but I mean, I guess we don't really know exactly what he's up against yet, but they're setting the stage for it to be some major uphill battle for him. So we'll see.
Oh
Should be pretty
yeah.
cool. Last couple episodes though.
Oh, I know. I'm very excited for where it's gonna take. Yeah, because once I heard earlier in the episode, they showed the music when he was going over to Fennec Shard, right? Because that was the whole Mando moment, right? That's the first time we saw Boba Fett. Technically, was at the end of that episode. They just didn't show his body; they showed his feet. So at that portion, when he's going to Fennec, they played the little key notes of the song, and I was like, "Huh, that sounds like Mandalorian." I just kind of picked it out. And at the end, when he's on that balcony, and then they actually play the full played out version. I was like, oh, it was him. They're alluding that they're gonna have the crossover back. So I got pretty excited about that. I was kind of like that Leonardo DiCaprio drift in I don't know if you've seen that movie, but where he's like pointing, he's sitting on the couch and he's like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
I don't know.
Once upon a time in Hollywood. You haven't seen that film?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, it's funny. But there's funny gif of Leo sitting on like a lazy boy, and he's watching something, and then he's like, oh, 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 like he's got a beer in one hand and he's got a cig in his mouth, and he's just kind of like pointing like he's like found something, an Easter egg that other people didn't see. So
yeah, the music's similar. Like it's kind of, I guess you call it the same style, like for Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yeah,
like maybe similar instruments or something. So that's why I didn't really catch it at first. But yeah, like I said, after a few seconds, I was like, oh, I know that music. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
And another point of debate between kind of us geeks was, well, are they going to talk about the Darksaber? Are they going to show the Darksaber again? I think yes. I think you have to, because it's a big part of the probably setup, right? This will end, and it's probably going to set up Mandalorian season 3 to be kind of like confrontation, right? Because Bo-Katan wants that Darksaber. I mean, that's what the whole purpose of her helping Din Djarin in season 2 was. She wanted that thing so bad. He's the owner of it now. He doesn't even want it, but per Mandalorian culture, it's in his possession, and he's the ruler. So we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll wrap it up here with a little 8 minutes after 4 and 4 minutes after 8. I mean, but thank you, Tim, for showing up. I hope you root for my Packers. We're nervous this weekend, but I'm hoping that they can pull out this victory. I'm hoping Matt LaFleur, Matt Sacre Bleu LaFleur gets it done. But
yeah, I mean, they know each other, so should be an interesting battle. But I just, Jimmy G versus Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been lights out this year, so unless he used the bye week to just drink and not practice or anything, I think he's gonna have a great game. And I don't know, I think they'll be able to put up points against the 49ers, and they can come back obviously, but I don't trust Jimmy G. I don't know if Jair Alexander's going to play either, but that would be a big boost if he does.
Oh yeah. So no, it would be a big boost for the Packers for sure. And if the Packers can get up early and throw a couple touchdowns, get up like 14-0, you'll enforce Jimmy G to have to throw the ball. I think you're going to see the game really go into the Packers' favor pretty quickly. But if it stays tight, I mean, if it's like a 10-7 game through halftime, that's the kind of game that worries me, because then in that second half they'll be able to eat up clock, and who knows what'll happen. So I'm just hoping for an early couple touchdowns and put this thing to bed. Don't even mess around. And I don't want to see Tom Brady in Lambeau anymore either. Rams, get it done. I'm tired of seeing Brady. I love the guy, but no more. I want to see my team just get one more Super Bowl with Rodgers and solidify that Hall of Fame career?
Well, Matt Stafford's going to have to do it. So, I mean, I'm sure you'd rather see him than Brady, though. But
oh yes,
we'll see.
Matt Stafford is usually the best player on the Packers when he plays in Lambeau. So
yeah, I know he doesn't have a very good track record there. So
yeah,
I'd like to see the Rams win too, but we'll see. Should be some good games though, especially Sunday. So
oh yeah. All right, Tim. Well, thanks for joining the show. Have a good night.
all right,
Everyone out there, have a
Yep.
good one. Thank you.
all right, see ya.
Later.